Hi, I'm Peter Switzer and I'm talking to the founder of Braaap, Brad Smith. Brad, welcome.
Thanks for having me, I appreciate it.
Now, why don't you tell us about this business, and I hope I pronounced the word right, it's Braaap, isn't it?
Yeah, so basically our business, first and foremost, we design and test our own motorcycle here in Australia. So we've got the frame here, that's our signature frame. So this is where our business started from, our passion for riding motorcycles, and what it's turned into is we design and test our bikes here in Australia, but now we also have retail stores to sell them from as well. And at the retail store, it's a whole lifestyle store we've got. It's like a surf shop for motorbikes. We've got everything there. All the clothing, the tracks to ride on. We have mechanics in store, everything you need. And each shop runs a club as well, so it's become a whole lifestyle brand.
So tell us what mini motocross is.
Yeah, so mini motocross is basically everything you can do on a full-size bike, but on a bike, it's on a mid-sized bike. And easiest way to explain it is it's like BMX on steroids.
Okay. So how many people are involved in this country alone?
Just earlier this year, we had a race with 200 people there and 5,000 fans. So that's at the top end of the sport. The biggest market for us is families riding, recreational riding, just people going out with their mates and having a good time in the bush riding. We cover such a wide demographic. You can have a 6-year-old ride our motorcycle and you could ride our motorcycle. So it's,
I look forward to that experience, mate. Now, tell us why you went into retail.
Well, yeah, this has been a big journey for us, and the biggest thing that's changed our business. So when I first started Braaap Motorcycles, the first challenge was to bring the sport to Australia, and I had to build a bike so we could bring the sport to Australia. When I first did that, I was wholesaling the bikes to dealers right across Australia, and volume was great, sales were great, but the thing was, and our dealers were just, they weren't doing what we wanted to do. They weren't doing it how we wanted to do it.
So you were selling a product, they were selling a product, and you wanted them to build a momentum to create a bigger market.
Exactly. To me, they were in it for the money, where we were in it because we were passionate about it. This was my pride and joy. I needed to make it something better, and we wanted to build a sport. So that's why about 4 or 3 years ago, I decided my only option was to go back, travel around Australia, buy back all the Braaap bikes in Australia and tell them that I'm going to open my own stores. And that's when we opened the first Braaap store in Launceston and got the concept together. I started to work with like a lot of people to get the concept together so we could gear that thing to drive it around Australia. And
how many outlets do you have around the country
at the moment? We've got 3, and I've just spent the last 3 years working to build out and release our franchise model.
A lot of people dream of creating a franchise out of their wonderful business and brand, but it's not as it's easier said than done, isn't it? So what have you learned about franchising?
Yeah, franchising is such an intense process, especially you're legally binded to a lot of stuff. So it's an expensive process because you have to get a lot of consultants and lawyers in to help you. But I discovered that was the only way that I could leverage to roll our brand out Australia-wide with the feel and the passion that we needed it to be. So for me, franchising has been, it's taught me so much about business because we've had to set our businesses up so it runs without me. What's
the potential? How many franchises can you imagine around the country?
My short-term goal is 50 in 5 years, so that's more than viable, and we'll go from there.
Have you had people come in to help you in areas where you might have had weakness, like, for example, capital injections to make the whole thing work, or have you been able to fund it yourself?
Oh, funding's been a really, really exciting journey because our growth has been so aggressive. Funding's been probably one of the most difficult parts, and we're working with the Commonwealth Bank now, who's helped fund our wholesale growth and that sort of thing. Was
it the passion for bikes that then led you to this business dream, or do you think you always were an entrepreneur in waiting?
Well, I always say that I'm really lucky to have, and my sister is as well, we're really lucky to have parents who have really encouraged us to think big and believe in ourselves. And I'm just so fortunate that I've been exposed to people who have allowed me to think big, allowed me to have a dream, but more importantly, taught me how to turn that into reality and taught me how to use that dream and live the life that I wanted to live.
One last question. Why Braaap? Where does that come from?
Well, if you go listen and think of the sound of a bike, Braaap.
Okay.
Can you show me?
Yeah, no, I can't, but I'll believe you. Braaap is the name. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much.